Hi guys, welcome back to Gardening with Creations by DX & Co. Today I'm actually going to show you guys how I'm going to build my raised bed out of reclaimed wood. So let's get started. As you can see, this is the wood we're working with. This is a 2x6. This particular one is 12 foot long, and the next one above it is 14 foot long. So this is wood that came off an old deck. Somebody had it available. You can see it's unstained. This was the actual joist under the deck. So I could sand this down and put some linseed oil on it, which is what I probably will end up doing. For all of these, I have 11 in total I'm hoping to make, but it is one of the things that you can do before, especially if you're doing a reclaimed wood. You can just hit this with a sander, clean it all up, and then I ended up cutting all the nails off of this. I prepped this wood by cutting all the nails, so I just ended up cutting them off with a Sawzall. You could pull them out by hand if you didn't have a Sawzall. So I've made myself a little makeshift workbench. I'm going to measure out 8 foot, and I'm going to cut the first board here, and because I want the outside of my box to be the 8 foot, and then the inside will measure 4 foot, and we have to do that by measuring the side of the board, adding it twice, and then cutting in between. So we want the overall finish to be 4 foot. So the inside of the box will actually be a little less than 4 foot. If we want the inside of the box to be 4 foot, we'd actually have to make the outside of the box larger by actually adding. So the thickness of the board, right, is going to be the outside of the box. So I actually want the outside of the box to be 8 foot by 4 foot. So the inside dimensions of the box will be a little smaller than that, which is okay. But my measurements for the total land area is based off the outside perimeter of the box, not the inside. So that's something to think about when you're building your boxes. Apologize if it's a little windy here, guys. Not much I can do about that, but I did want to show you I'm using just a standard 10-inch chop saw to cut mine. You could do this with a jigsaw. You could do this with a circular saw. You can even do this with a handsaw. The point is just that if you're cutting the boards in half, find the easiest method or the tools that you have available to do so. If you don't have them, I'm sure a neighbor around you may be willing to either cut them for you or lend you their saw for the day, so on and so forth. Just be careful. Remember, safety first, safety goggles, so on and so forth. Keep your hands out of the blade. So wanted to show you, this is just a little makeshift. I threw a couple boards up here on my sawhorses, and I'm gonna go ahead and measure and make the first cut. So I've got my 8 foot mark here. This little handy tool is called Speed Square. They're about $3, so if you don't have one, I recommend it. It just helps with set that there on the edge, makes you be able to draw a straight line. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. They're just fun little tools to have if you can pick one up. Now, important thing to remember, always, you got this line here. This is my 8 foot side, this is my 4 foot side. I'm going to put an X here because that's the side I want to cut on. You don't want to cut directly on the line because you'll end up with, because of your blade thickness, you will end up with less than 8 foot. So make sure you're cutting with your blade on this side of the line, just on the line there. So just a tip. First cut's done. Now you can see that this board is measuring less than 4 foot. In fact, it is measuring 47.5. And remember, that's going to be our inside piece, so it's okay that it measures less than 4 foot, but always remeasure your drop piece, make sure it's still a usable piece. So let's see exactly. We are looking to, remember I said that these are 2x4s. The thickness of your, or 2x6s, the thickness of your wood is never exactly what it says it's going to be. So when we look at this, we've got 1.5 inches. It's not really 2 inches. So we actually have to add 1.5 inches plus 1.5 inches, which gives us 3 inches. in fact, is what I actually have to cut off this board. So it's okay that it's a 1/2 inch shy, because now I actually have to cut off 3 inches off of my 48-inch total, which gives me 45 inches in total is what I need this inside board to be, so that I have an outside finished length of 4 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 45 and cut that now. So we've got our essentially one side and one back and one side. Let's call it the back piece and the side piece. So we've got 2 of the 4 boards we need to make our box. So this box will only be 6 inches high based on this. So we have officially got 2 8-foot pieces. Sorry about the shadow there. There we go, better. So we've officially got 2 8-foot pieces and 2 at 45 inches. Remember, just shy of the 4 foot. And that's going to give us our overall finish, or should, of 8 foot by 4 foot. So now we just need to put it together. So I'm going to go grab my deck screws, or outdoor rated screws, so that way we can actually put this together. Now, it's ideal that you have a flat surface for this. I'm actually going to put it together right here. It would be best if I moved it over to the cement to do so. You should always try to work on a flat surface when you are putting things together, so that way your edges are lined up. Mentioned, I am using outdoor all-weather deck screws, T20 I believe. That's just the type of head that it is, for those of you who are wondering. So it's a star, or T is the name of it. You can use any type of screw. I recommend an outdoor deck screw if you can. Otherwise, you can use a hammer and nail. If you don't have a screw gun and screws, you can use whatever you have. If you are, remember, this is a very low budget project thus far. All the wood has been completely free. So this is a very low budget project as far as that's concerned, and why I wanted to show you guys. But these screws are worth investing. I think I got a box of them, a large box, for about $50 when I was doing the treehouse, and I've still had them for many projects to come. So if you have the extra cash, invest in a decent set of deck screws. I'm going to start by deciding whether or not I want my screws on the outside of the bed, so like on the 8-foot side or the 4-foot side. Given that I've already decided that the screws are going to be, or that the shorter boards are going to be the inside, I actually have to go from the 8-foot side. So I'm going to do 2 screws. You can do 3 even, but I'm going to do 2 screws, one on top, one on bottom. I think that should suffice. If I find it's gapping, I'll put a 3rd one in there. So you have 2 choices at this step. You can pre-drill, which means to take a drill and drill a hole smaller than the width of this screw, to keep this wood from splitting. But given that this wood has been aged, it's been outside, it's not pallet wood, I'm just going to attempt to get these started. So I'm going to put 2 screws in here to get them started before I even bother to stand this up to put the next board to screw it in. So let me do that. If you're unsure kind of where the middle, if you're kind of hesitant on this because you're not sure where this should it go low, if you're worried about being too low, too high, you can take a piece of your other board here and just stand it up, or a piece of drop board, whatever, and line up the thickness right along the edge of your board, and just draw a line, quick line down this side. So that will actually tell you whether or not you're close to center. So you can see just me eyeballing it, I'm pretty close to center. I'm a little off, I'm a little heavy this way, which means I could have come back this way, but either way I'm fine. So just a quick tip, if you're worried about pre-starting these and you're not sure if you're too close to the edge or not, just draw yourself a quick line. Okay, so now I've got both of those pre-drilled, ready to get this one started and butt up against this one here. But probably the most important step now is I need to look at my boards, right? Now these boards are pretty aged. I doubt they're going to change shape. But if you are buying a brand new board at the store, there are 2 things you're looking for. A, look down the top of the board. Does it bow? Does it couple? Does it bow like arch from one side to the other? Does it have kind of an arch in it? Two, look at the side of the board. Does it kind of have the same arch? Now, two reasons. If this board has a arch to it, which this one, believe it or not, you can't really tell on camera, I apologize, but it really does. You want the arch of the board on the top to be on the top, so that way over time gravity pushes that down and you hope that the center actually it may look funny on your ground because you've got a bit of a bow in your board and you've got a gap here, which is okay. Your soil's not likely to go through there, or if it does, it's not a big deal for you to backfill that a little bit, but over time this should start to sink down. Now the other thing you're looking for is if there's a bow in the board from this side to this side, because you want the bow facing the inside of your raised bed. What that means is that the dirt will push it out and kind of straighten it out for you. So those are very important things. So what I'm looking for when I'm looking for this piece is how am I gonna rotate it? I'm gonna put this side to the top, and then it looks like it's bowing out where my thumb is. So I'm actually gonna spin that around if this is my outside. So that way, now I've got the proper orientation for this board. The dirt will push it out and gravity will push it down over time. So now I need to do the same with my other three boards, is just make sure that I have them properly aligned before screwing them together. So it's a lot easier to tell on longer boards. And you can see, look at that wicked curve going on there. So let's see if I can see that. So we want the soil to push that curve out for us, okay? So I'm gonna I already have this one, the screws in the right spot. So this is now gonna be, that'll be the inside of my bed. This will be the outside. So once the soil's in there, it'll help push that out, and over time, that'll straighten out, especially on a new wood. Now, like I said, this is seasoned wood. I don't know how long the deck was up. I believe it was 20 years. Anywhere from 15 to 20 years, I think they said. So, yeah. Sorry, I just noticed my neighbor chopping down a beautiful, super expensive hydrangea. I'm about to lose my mind. Okay, so we've got our first piece screwed together there. Like I said, I just did the two screws, and you can see, seems pretty tight. I don't really think we'll need the third one, but if you did have a gap there, you could always close it with the third one. So again, I would recommend doing this on a flat surface, because I actually had to try to hold this piece flush at the same time as screwing it in. So I wouldn't recommend that. If you can do this on a flat surface, definitely do it. It will still be difficult if you have some bowing in the board. So if you're picking up fresh boards from your local big box store, then make sure that you are looking for that bow. You want as least of a bow as possible. That doesn't rule out actually doing it. It just, you know, you got to do a little bit of extra work. So super important thing to watch out for. Remember, we screwed that corner in with this piece on the inside. So we're about to screw this side in. So I'm going to go ahead and start my screws in a minute here, but I wanted to show you, make sure you line it up the same way. Meaning if this piece is on the inside, it stays on the inside. Don't accidentally start it on like that, because then you're going to have just a very crooked board and nothing's going to line up. So okay, there we have it. 4 foot by 8 foot, exactly what we planned. So now we just need to move it in place over there. Gotta clear that stuff out of the way, and then we want to make sure that it is square. Now you do that by measuring from corner to corner, and we've got 107 here, and then we're going to measure this other corner, and we are at 107 there. So we are actually square already. Too bad this isn't the permanent spot for it. It'd be a great spot. Sorry about the dog. So as I got this in its place, my wife and I were looking at it, and we decided that one layer wasn't going to be enough. So I'm going to show you how we're going to add this second layer. Now, because we put a joint here, we don't want to run another 8 foot board. We actually want to run a full 4 foot board here and then we'll do 95 on that side. Okay, so you can see what I was saying now. So instead of the outside board being our longest board, now the inside board is our long one. So it actually overlaps the joint here, and so there's our joint and that board. So our long board will actually be 95 inches instead of 90. Wow, that's wrong. It should be 93 inches, not 95 inches. I apologize for misspeaking. So yeah, our outside board will actually be 93 inches, so that way it actually, you know, because we have this 1.5 inches here like we measured on that one. Now we'll have to actually tie these two boards together, so that way we don't have those style gaps in there as bad, because remember, you can see, especially on that piece, look how much it's bowing. Okay, it's getting a little dark out here to see, but I'm going to kind of show you guys. So I essentially did the exact same first build on top of the second build here, right? Just to raise this up. Remember, these are 2x6s, which doesn't actually mean 6 inches. It's actually about 5.5. So now we've got 11 inches in total here. Just looks a lot better, you know, overall than just the 5.5 initially, right? So now you can see, just taking a look around it, everything's uneven. There's some gapping. You know, if you left it like this, backfilled it with dirt, would it work? Sure, but it's not ideal. So what we're gonna do here is take some 2x4s that we have over there, and we are gonna cut them to the 11 inches and put one in this corner, that corner, the four corners, and then it looks like we're gonna have to do one in the middle. So we're gonna do them vertically, right? So we're gonna stand them straight up, and we're gonna screw in from the sides. We can screw in from the inside if our screw's short enough so that's not sticking through. That way, you know, you don't see the extra screw holes on the outside. It's a good idea. I'm actually gonna screw from the outside. I don't mind the screw holes. But the important part I wanted to show you is when you look at the seam here, you see the seam on the outside for the top box, but on the inside, or the side if you will. So I offset the seams, in other words. So I made this top one a full 4 foot, whereas that one is the 45 inches. And then this is the full 96 or 8 foot on the bottom with the 93 inches on the top. Now the reason for that is because your weakest points in any build are your joints. So even if I built this really long and I had seams in the middle, I would still want to stagger those joints. It's just like building a wall. Your weakest point's always your joints, so you want to offset them whenever possible. So I cut some 2x4s 11 inches long. As you can see here, I measured, made sure that I was 11 inches because we want 5.5 and 5.5. We want to try to suck these boards together and square it up. So you can see how we stuck it in the corner here. And so I started by making sure I was flush with the top, right? And then I screwed this top screw in. Then I sat on it for my weight and made sure I was pulled all the way out into this corner, and I put the bottom one in. Once I did that, I also wanted to tag the side in, so I did tag this side in. So you're coming in from the side as well as the face, so you give it that nice, now it's all secure, it's one piece, and I only have one block in. So I'm going to do the other 4, and then like I said, I'm going to do the middle. You can see right there, just if I put one over there, I'm going to suck that in. Now I don't lose a lot of gardening space just by putting these little blocks in, guys. So overall, right move for you. And then if you want, you can come back in, and I may do this and dress this whole thing up with 2x4s all around. You could cut a 45-degree angle here so it looks like molding, you know, go all the way around. So I may dress this with a top dress of 2x4 all the way around like that, so it kind of gives you a ledge to set your tools on or rest on as you're gardening. So overall, that might be the look we do. Okay, so I couldn't take out the gap exactly, but that's okay. It's not going to lose soil or anything. But you can see I took out the bow just by putting those screws in there and sucking it together. And that's that middle piece that I was talking about. So we've got our corners, got our middle. Need to do this middle, I think, and then those two corners. We're good to go. And we've just built ourselves a raised bed. All right, guys, good morning. It is the next morning. It has not started raining yet. I wanted to show you guys this before it does start raining. So there you have it, guys. Finished raised bed. Just need to fill it. There you have it, folks. I just wanted to show you guys a quick DIY reclaimed wood raised bed build that you guys can do. Very easy, very simple, and it's something that all of you guys may or may not be able to get access to. Just keep a look on. What I did was just look for free lumber on Facebook or Marketplace, whatever. There's a lot of different things out there. A lot of people who are throwing stuff away because they just don't want to deal with it. And this particular guy was, no dumps were around to take it. So why not reuse it and actually stop wasting money buying extra stuff? I mean, yeah, this could have some contaminants in it. I don't know where it's been. It's a chance you take. I'm not 100% organic farmer at the moment. That doesn't mean that I might not be in the future. But for now, this is going to suit me and my family just fine. I don't think there's anything after 15-20 years of being weathered that's going to leach into the soil. So that's how I look at it. As always, guys, I hope you guys give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Give me some comments and feedback on what you do differently here, what you would like to see differently here. If there's a project you want me to try for you guys, I'm happy to do so. So leave some comments below. And I hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying your gardens. Thanks for watching.